The Democrats are making some big changes in Augusta, and Senate President Troy Jackson is one of the people driving those changes. Troy grew up in Allagash and went to work in the woods at an early age, and those are two factors that definitely affect his political agenda. The town of Allagash developed where the St. John and Allagash rivers meet. This is logging country. And it was at a place called High Landing where Troy Jackson's political perspective was born. He was about 12 and had a showdown between loggers and mill owner Jim Irving over a cut in pay that Irving had made.
Jim come around and he said, "Boys," he said, "if you don't go back to work in the morning for what I'm paying you," he said, "I'll replace you all with Canadians." But I can remember standing behind my father being like really scared. And I feel it now, you know. Because, you know, somebody came out of the blue and made a whole group of people, you know, really feel like, you know, their lives didn't matter. What I understand now more than ever, and probably what, you know, upsets me and pisses me off today, is what my father must have felt like, you know, with his son standing behind him, while the man that had all the control basically let him know that it doesn't matter, you know, you're going to do what I say or I'm going to get rid of you.
Troy showed me the '86 GMC General that he learned to drive as a teenager. In fact, he sometimes took the truck to school.
I was just thinking about my senior year, actually going to school in this truck, you know, a number of times. I didn't have a vehicle, and you know, my father, you know, wasn't real concerned if I took the truck or whatever, but...
Troy played sports and graduated as salutatorian in a class of 12. However, he ignored his father's wishes and went to work as a logger, which he feels can be a trap for young people.
You know, it was attractive for me, you know, back in 1986. You know, I could make $450 a week, which was, you know, a lot for an 18-year-old. You know, it wasn't long after I had my first new vehicle. Had, you know, lots of money to spend on the weekends, going out to the bars and stuff like that in Canada. And you know, pretty soon, you know, you started down that road, and you know, for me, then we started having family, and things started changing. It was like, you know, $450 wasn't enough.
In '98, things came to a head once again. A friend led a boycott of the Canadian border crossing, trying to keep Canadian subsidized work and their products out. Troy went along reluctantly and ended up leading a group that shut down the crossing in a place called St. Just.
What that experience did for me is showed me how government really works. I mean, I grew up thinking all along that, you know, government worked for the people. There was laws to protect those people. And what I saw from that experience was that it isn't that way. And, you know, people can tell you that growing up, but that is absolutely not the way it is. I mean, government works for those people that are showing up, you know, pushing their agenda in places like Augusta and in places like D.C.
So he ran for the legislature in 2000 as a Republican and narrowly lost. 2 years later, he ran as an independent and narrowly won. Since that time, he's been a Democrat and is 6 for 6 in local elections. In 2014, he ran for the Democratic congressional nomination and lost to Emily Kane. In 2016, he went back to the Senate and was elected its president as Democrats, who had the House, took the Senate and the governorship in 2018.
You know, you can get to be Senate president, but in the end, you got to get the person that eventually ends up signing the bill to sign the bills, and at this point, I haven't had that. You know, I'm hopeful. I'm still hopeful. I mean, I'm probably as far as I'm ever going to be able to get.
Troy has spent tens of thousands of hours in dilemmas like this one. He understands the plight of the workers and has made progress on a bill that would let loggers bargain collectively, and another that would give Maine's electoral votes to the winner of the national majority, regardless of how Maine votes. He's not bothered by controversy.
I know exactly why people elected me. I know what my job is, and I'm damn well going to make sure that, you know, we finally get what we deserve.
He did go back to UMFK and got a degree. He and Lana have 2 sons. People sometimes say politicians are not square shooters. They're not talking about Troy Jackson. He's a unique politician, forged from his environment, trying to make the very most of his moments on the stage. Because Troy Jackson left the Senate in 2014 to run for Congress, he's in just his second term as a senator, and he can remain Senate president until 2024.